Hello, my name is Dan Gonzalez. I'm with Patio Enhancement Group. We are a commercial dealer and installer for Calcana infrared heaters. We're here today at a construction project called Carmine's Restaurant in Rosemont, Illinois, which is just outside of Chicago. And we have 10 Calcana heaters we're going to be installing at this location on the patio. And today we're going to talk about the installation process of a Calcana heater, show you a little bit about what it takes to from the point you get the boxes delivered to you to the point that we get a heater up in the air. Okay, we've just received a shipment of our 10 infrared heaters. The heaters come in boxes, as you can see here, but they also come crated. Generally maximum of 6 heaters per crate. And if you have an odd number, of course, the second crate will have fewer. So the first thing you're going to be doing is somewhere you're going to remove the boxes from the crates, keep the crates off the site as much as you can. The next thing we want to do then is start removing the cardboard. Best way to do that is to get a unit up in the air. It makes it a lot easier to remove the end caps. You'll see cardboard end caps on either end of the heater. The heaters, by the way, are roughly 10 to 12 foot boxes. So kind of tells you where to place your horses. The way to open the end caps, you can either cut them as they're doing here, or there's a set of staples that are used to pin the end caps down. We generally just can cut them, and it's for the quickest removal. The next thing you want to do is remove the excess cardboard or protective cardboard on the ends. A good knife is a handy tool to have at this point. Now the sides are stapled. Easiest way to rather than try to pull the staples out is just to pull the cardboard sides down. These fellas are going to do that. They just put a little muscle into it, and we can unfold that, pull out our additional protective cardboard, and there's our heater. Now we do have to do a little prep work before we actually want to lift our heater. There's some plastic bands here that hold up a control component, and there's a plastic band down on the end holding up and a plastic band here holding up a piece of cardboard underneath for protecting the grill. One of the important things to keep an eye on, there's a sticker that's placed on the end. We don't remove that when we do unpacking of the unit. What this sticker does is it protects the opening for the gas pipe. We don't want to get any extra moisture or dirt in there until time comes to actually pipe the unit. So we leave the sticker on and hang the unit that way, and we allow the pipe fitter that's going to be the gas piping to remove the sticker when he's ready to connect the pipe. Okay, here is the internal componentry of our infrared heater from Calcana. We have our combustion blower, needed like any combustion or furnace product. We have an ignition module, 24-volt transformer, an airflow sensing switch, a gas valve, a DC power supply circuit board, and a terminal strip. The basic operation is very similar to a standard residential or light commercial furnace section, where we take gas, open the gas valve, ignite it, and in this case, instead of using a heat exchanger like you would in a normal home furnace, the gas is lit and sent down a tube, and we have a flame that shoots down our infrared tube, thereby heating up the tube, and that is a source of our infrared energy. So all of the basic components that you see here are readily available from Calcana from their parts department. Okay, now we're going to be attaching one of the T hanging brackets. Remember, we're putting those on the rabbit ears. We've got stainless steel brackets, stainless steel screws, always the nicest. And recall, we have a stainless steel burner box on the model PHS 40,000 BTU unit, and we have a little brushed aluminum reflector material. Now, when we place the bracket and install the bracket, we want to pay attention to which direction the bolts go. We want to place the bracket on the outside of the rabbit ears. And we also want to drive the bolt that way, making it easier to remove these screws and remove the reflector. If it ever got damaged in the air somehow, it would make it a lot easier in the future to remove the reflector. If the bolts came the other way, you'd have difficulties. So we've got a bracket on this particular unit, the model PHS 40. We have 2 hanging points, one here right at the point of the junction of the reflector and the burner box. And we come down to the other end of the unit, and the same rules apply. We want to put the bolts, drive the bolts in the direction opposite the reflector to keep the reflector screws accessible, and we put the bracket itself on the outside of the rabbit ears. Okay, this is the second part of the mounting system. We call this the mounting base. It's just a square with a tab and a tab hole, and that we mount on our surface, whether it's an aluminum beam or whatever surface you're mounting from. This gets attached with the 4 screws to the attachment point. In our case, our louvered roof, it's an aluminum beam. Of course, once that's hung, then we can just raise our unit up to that point and put our bolt in, making it a very simple process. This particular model, the PHS 40, again, is a relatively light unit, weighing only about 100 pounds, so 2 men could actually lift it into the air on ladders, but we choose the easy way and use our lift. So we're going to show you that method. First thing we want to do is on top of the platform, we want to take a piece of cardboard just for protection. Remember, underneath the heater is an aluminum grill, which can be fairly delicate. So we want to protect that. So we put the cardboard and then we just simply lift it on top. You want to balance the unit. When you're doing it this method, the burner end is of course heavier, so you just got to find the balance point where it kind of sits equally on either side, so you get a good balance before you actually do the lift. Okay, now we can move our unit into place. Before we begin lifting, we want to make sure we orient our burner box in the direct location. In this particular case, we have our burner boxes, which have all the electrical and gas piping connections closer to the building. That's the way it's been designed. You can see the electrical ready to be connected once we get these heaters up in the air and hung. So we're ready to lift the unit. Now you'll see the 2 ladders, so to ease of installation, we have 2 installers be on ladders on either end, and they're simply there to just guide the unit, make sure nothing happens on its way up, and of course then they can place the last screw for the final hanging point to the bracket that's already been pre-mounted. You want to keep an eye on the orientation of the unit. You want to make sure that the bottom surface, the plane of the bottom surface, is parallel to the ground. And it's easy to eyeball and look at that and see that the unit isn't cockeyed after installation. Okay, while the unit is up in the air, it would be a good time to point out some of the features of the unit. At the very beginning, as we mentioned earlier, is the burner box. It's all stainless steel. And Dan here is going to see how easy it is to get to the internal parts of the unit. There's a 1 safety screw on the one end, and then there's a very easy release clips on either side. And all you need to do is release those, and the heater components are exposed. You may already be asking, well, how do I control a unit once I have it powered up and piped? Well, the answer is right here. We have a controller here that has 2 components on it. We have an on-off control. Now remember, this is a low voltage, so we need to bring low voltage to wherever we mount this. Typically on the outdoor wall of the patio, it could be mounted indoors. We bring low voltage wires to wherever we're going, and these wires come back to the control panel you see up there. So once those 5 wires are connected, and there's a wiring diagram right in the unit on the inside of the stainless steel cover, the operation is fairly simple. There's an on-off switch, turning the unit on and off, and then to modulate the unit from minimum to maximum output. Turns just like a volume knob, low to high, to set the amount of heat output to wherever you'd like. Very simple control, but very effective.